When you look at the ruins of ancient civilizations today, it's easy to think of them as lifeless stones and broken walls. But what if I told you that the pyramids once gleamed like mirrors under the sun, that the Parthenon in Athens was painted in dazzling colors, and that Rome's Colosseum was filled with gold, statues, and roaring crowds? In this video, we'll reveal what the world's most famous archaeological sites really looked like in their prime, and I promise it will completely change the way you see history. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will blow your mind. Part 1: The Mystery of Ancient Glory. When we walk among the ruins of ancient temples and crumbling stone walls, it's easy to forget that these were once vibrant, colorful, and alive with people. Most archaeological sites we see today are nothing more than the skeletons of what once stood. But what if we could peel back the centuries of decay, weathering, and destruction? What if we could see them as they truly looked thousands of years ago? Tonight, we'll step back in time to rediscover the original majesty of some of the world's most famous ancient sites. Part 2: The Pyramids of Egypt. The Great Pyramids we see today are gray, weathered, and stripped of their outer layers. But originally, they were not dull at all. Each pyramid was covered in smooth white limestone casing stones that gleamed under the sun like mirrors. Imagine standing in the desert as a massive, blinding white monument towers over you, shining so brightly it could be seen from miles away. At night, under the moonlight, they must have looked otherworldly, giant beacons in the darkness. Part 3 of the Colosseum in Rome. Today, the Colosseum looks like a broken skeleton of stone. But in its prime, it was decorated with colorful awnings, statues, marble seating, and even fountains. Its outer walls were not bare gray rock, but polished travertine, glistening white. Inside, the arena floor was covered with sand, sometimes dyed red for dramatic effect. Crowds filled the air with cheers as gladiators fought, surrounded by paintings, banners, and roaring firelight. Part 4 of the Acropolis of Athens. When you think of the Parthenon in Athens, you probably imagine white marble columns standing against the sky. But that's not how the ancient Greeks saw it. The Parthenon was painted in vivid colors: reds, blues, and golds. Sculptures of gods and heroes were painted in lifelike detail, with bronze and precious metals embedded in their designs. To the Athenians, the Acropolis was not just a ruin, it was a shining jewel, a sacred mountaintop that glowed in the sun. Part 5: The City of Petra. The Rose City of Petra in Jordan today looks impressive with its pink rock facade. But back then, it was more than a carved canyon. The monuments and temples were brightly painted, decorated with stucco, mosaics, and sculptures. The city had markets, pools, gardens, and a bustling population. At night, torches and oil lamps lit the city, casting shadows across the carved sandstone cliffs. It was a living, breathing metropolis. Part 6: Stonehenge in England. Stonehenge is now a lonely circle of weathered rock. But originally, the stones were polished smooth, standing in a complete ring, some capped with lintels. Archaeologists believe the site was surrounded by wooden structures, ceremonial posts, and perhaps even painted decorations. To ancient people, it wasn't just bare stones in a field, it was a sacred gathering place, possibly decorated with banners and symbols, filled with music, fire, and ritual. Part 7: Machu Picchu in Peru. Tourists see Machu Picchu today as mossy stone ruins high in the Andes. But to the Inca, it was a royal estate bursting with color and life. The terraces were full of crops, the buildings had thatched golden roofs, and bright textiles decorated the homes and temples. The stone walls were not just gray, they were covered in vibrant fabrics, banners, and offerings to the gods. Imagine the entire mountaintop city alive with people, llamas, music, and sacred ceremonies. Part 8: Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Angkor Wat is stunning even as a ruin, but once it was one of the most breathtaking cities in the world. The temple walls were painted in vivid colors, decorated with gold, and reflected in massive pools of water. Statues of gods and guardians were gilded, and the entire city was alive with chanting, processions, and festivals. At its peak, over 1 million people lived in the Angkor civilization, making it one of the largest cities of its time. Part 9: The Mayan Cities. The jungle ruins of the Mayan world, like Chichen Itza or Tikal, are haunting today, swallowed by trees. But once, they were dazzling cities painted in bright reds, blues, and greens. The towering pyramids were not gray stone, they were painted in vivid colors, topped with temples covered in carvings and decorations. At night, fires and torches lit up the plazas, and drums echoed through the jungle. The Maya lived in vibrant, colorful cities, not silent ruins. Part 10: The Lost Splendor of the Past. The ruins we walk through today are ghosts, shadows of civilizations that once pulsed with life. From the shining pyramids of Egypt to the colorful temples of Greece, from the bustling streets of Petra to the golden towers of Angkor Wat, these were not ruins at all, but thriving worlds. To truly understand history, we must learn to see beyond the stone and imagine the life, color, and energy that once defined these sites. What we see as broken was once whole. What we see as silent was once filled with sound. And perhaps one day, with new technology, we may see them again as they truly were.